Okay, class, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Now, let us discuss the nervous system of the human body. So, first, what is the nervous system? Kichi?
Nervous system is a highly complex part of a human that coordinates its actions and sensory information by transmitting signals from different parts of the body.
So, thank you. So, that's it. The nervous system, it is the highly complex structure of the human body. It is specialized with the transmission and receiving information like stimulus from outside of the body. Then it stores in the brain. So there are two major divisions of nervous system. So we have the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system composed of brain and the spinal cord. So remember that. And the peripheral nervous system are those neurons or called as nerve cells. So let's discuss the brain. So what is the brain? Please read, Jennifer.
The brain controls most of the activities of the body, processing, integrating, and coordinating the information it receives from the sense organs and making decisions as to the instructions sent to the rest of the body.
So our brain is the central processing unit of our body. So all the activities of the body is controlled by our brain. So the brain processes the informations, integrate it, and coordinate it to actions. So that's it. The information is received from the sense organs such as our eyes, skins, what we smells, are then transmitted to the brain, and then the brain process it and give a response. So the next is there are different parts of the brain. So we have three parts, the three major parts of the brain: the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and the brainstem. So the cerebrum has four lobes. The frontal lobes located here, this red area. The parietal lobes, this yellow area. The occipital lobe located at the back part of the brain, this blue area. And the purple area is the temporal lobe. So the cerebellum is located here, under the cerebrum, this orange area, and the brainstem is located here, that connects the brain to the spinal cord. That is the brainstem. So the cerebrum. The cerebrum is the largest part of the brain, containing the cerebral cortex of two cerebral hemispheres. So the two cerebral hemisphere is, when we look at this is the upper part of our brain. So these are the two cerebral hemisphere. The right cerebral hemisphere, and the left cerebral hemisphere. So that's it. So the frontal lobe is located at the upper region of the brain, which common function is to control voluntary movement of specific body parts such as the movement of our hands and our foot. So the next is the parietal lobe, located at upper back region of the brain. So this is the parietal lobes, which integrates the sensory informations among various modalities including spatial sense and navigations. So this may refer to the sense of sight because it includes the spatial sense. It can determine how large an object, how small is an object, and how far is an object. So the next is the temporal lobe. So this is the temporal lobe, located beneath frontal and parietal lobe, which is involved the processing sensory input into derived meaning for the appropriate retention of visual memory, language comprehension, and emotional association. So, the temporal lobe is responsible for our understanding of language. So that's it. And the next lobe is the occipital lobe. So the occipital lobe is located at the back portion of the cerebrum. Here. So it is divided into several visual areas. So it means that it is responsible for our sense of sight. So that is the work of occipital lobe. So let's proceed to the cerebellum. So Jennifer, please read.
Cerebellum is a major feature of the hindbrain of all vertebrates. Cerebellum plays an important role in motor control. It coordinates the voluntary skeletal muscle to maintain balance and steady body movement.
Okay, thank you. So the cerebellum is the major features of hindbrain. Ibig sabihin, pag hindbrain is nasa back portion of the brain. So that is the small brain, hindbrain. The cerebellum plays an important role in motor control. Means what you are doing, your movement is that the responsible of that is the cerebellum. So it also coordinates the voluntary skeletal muscle that maintains balance and steady body movement. So that is the work of cerebellum. It controls our balance. Next is the brainstem. Kichi, can you read?
Brainstem is the posterior stalk-like part of a brain that connects the cerebrum with the spinal cord, composed of the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla oblongata. It has a critical role in regulating cardiac and respiratory function, helping to control heart rate, and breathing.
So that is the function of the brainstem. The brainstem is the posterior stalk. Means posterior, it is located inside, but then some of its parts are located at the outer part of the brain. So the brainstem has a role of regulating cardiac, the movement of our blood in the body, the functions of our heartbeats. That is because the functions of the brainstem is to control the involuntary movement of our body, such as our breathing, the movement of our heart, the circulation of the blood, the movement of some part of our muscles inside our body, which we cannot control through motor movement or on our voluntary actions. So that is helping to control the heart rate and breathing. Okay, we are done in the part of the brain. So let's proceed to the spinal cord. So let me discuss the data. So first, I have a question. Is the spinal cord an organ? The spinal cord is a long, thin tubular structure made up of nervous tissues. So the spinal cord is made up of tissues, which extends from the medulla oblongata. Here, the medulla oblongata is here at the brainstem. From the medulla oblongata in the brainstem to the lumbar region of the vertebral column. So at this area, from here to this part. So this is the spinal cord. The second major division is the peripheral nervous system. So this is it, the peripheral nervous system. So what does the peripheral nervous system do? So Kiche, do you have any idea or what What does the peripheral nervous system do?
For me, peripheral nervous system is obviously known as for nerves, which is capable of doing your senses. For example, sense of touch, and then that sense of touch is traveling through your peripheral nervous system, and then it recovers through your motor or sensory neuron through your motor neuron, and then with it through your brain, and then back to the peripheral nervous system, and you have a
Yes.
response.
Yes, that's correct. The peripheral nervous system is called as our neurons. It receives stimulus from the environment, then transmit it to the brain, then the brain will process it, and then the brain gives a response through the neurons. The structure of neuron. So we have the structure of neuron. Dendrites. Dendrites are parts of neuron that receive the nerve impulses and pass it to the cell body. So once the stimuli is being received from the environment, outside the environment, it will pass through dendrites, then to the cell body. The cell body has a nucleus that is responsible for giving energy for the information to transfer from dendrites to cell body to the axon. The axons are responsible for carrying the stimulus away from the cell body to the axon stimuli, or the end of the neuron of our neurons. So there are 3 types of neurons which I didn't include in my instructional
Motor neurons, sensory neurons, and interneurons.
interneurons. That's correct. So please read the 3 types of neurons.
Sensory or apparent neuron receive stimulus from environment through the sense organs and transmit to central nervous system. Second, motor or afferent neuron carry information from central nervous system to the muscles and glands, signaling them to produce responses. Interneuron or connection neuron connects sensory and motor neuron.
That are the 3 types of neurons. Okay, before we end, let us then answer the question: is the spinal cord an organ?
No.
So let us answer that. Based on research, is the spinal cord an organ? Well, according to it, some says that spinal cord is not an organ because some says that it's just a bundle of nerves. But however, the growing segment of medical community beginning to embrace that the spinal cord is an organ, since it is comprised of a common tissue throughout the spinal cord. Designs acts as a single unit in its function and the numerous parts of the body. So, then we can say that the spinal cord may be a bundle of tissue or an organ. This where we end our discussion. So thank you very much for your attention.